Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. The fire exits are marked. If you have cell phones with you, we ask you to have them turned off so we don't get interrupted. And can we have a roll call?
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Basil LaForce.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander. Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
Alan Reese.
Here.
Brett Baker.
Here.
Matthew Favreau.
Here.
And can we have somebody make a motion that the meeting was advertised as required?
I'll make a motion.
And a second. And roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Basil LaForce.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
And can we have a motion to approve last month's minutes?
I'll make a motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
And roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Basil LaForce.
Abstain.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
And some old business with Alan.
Mr. Chairman, we have two old businesses. The first one was a request for rehearing. It's variance number 2136. It was granted back in October 10, 2018. This was the MHAB billing today. So the request was granted to convey property to MHAB and it to be allowed to operate transitional housing to homeless individuals in the 3-story dormitory buildings, as well as operating existing dining hall, student union to provide meals and classroom space for education programs in an A2 district, which wasn't allowed. That district has now changed, and the use that they were granted variance is now an allowed use, but they have a third use they'd like to come, and that's not allowed. So they're asking to come before you next month.
So, anybody have any questions on that, or just usually do approve?
Continuation.
No, it's a rehearing.
Rehearing.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Gonna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
And then roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Basil LaForce.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Okay, we have a second request for hearing. I'm sure somebody wants to recuse himself first.
Yeah, I recuse myself from this one.
Okay, so this one here is Mary Ann Alexandro down here on Route 3. It was granted May 11, 2021. There was a request to be allowed to relocate an existing garage that's currently attached to the house to the side yard, which does not meet the 10-foot side yard setback for accessory structure in R2 district. She's now changed what's going to happen. They're actually going to build a garage now there. So the size of it is in question compared to the 20 by 24. So therefore, she'd have to come back in order to get anything different than a 20 by 24 garage.
Right. So, and that would be granting the rehearing.
So moved.
Okay, a second.
Second.
And a roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Basil LaForce.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Okay. Our last little business was bill number 2273. You'd like to come up and sit in the front? Who was representing this one? That's you two, right? For this appeal?
I am, except Tony was supposed to be here and she's on her way, but she's not here yet. So I was kind of here to back up. It's Tony who owns the property or speaking for the estate of.
Do we want to push this one?
Do you want to go out of order?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do
Oh,
that.
I see. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Let's go to Tobias's. Come on up, ma'am, have a seat. This is new business.
Where do I sit?
Yeah, right there in one of those chairs. Make yourself comfortable.
Wow, front and center.
So this is appeal number 2276, Susan Tobias, at 75 Moffett Road. It's an area variance, request to be allowed to construct a 24-24 attached garage onto the front of the residence that does not meet the 50-foot front yard setback in R2 residential district, encroaching 18 feet into the setback, leaving 32 feet to the property line. So Moffett Road is this road right here. This is the Interstate 87 going off to Cumberland Head down at the bottom. Shears Boulevard coming down this way. So she's actually on the corner. She has 2 front yards. So you can see this whole area here is all zoned R2, everything in yellow there. Well, here's the house. So she actually has a front yard here on Steelers Boulevard as well as on Moffett Road. You can see the driveways on the right-hand side of the road. Here's what it looks like today. So this used to be a garage at one time. It's been converted back in the 80s to residential space. They would like to actually bring a new garage directly in front of this garage right here. And this is the layout. So this is inside of it. This is the residential space now. They want to put a new 24 by 24 garage directly in front. Okay, ma'am, anything you'd like to pass on to the board?
Just that we're getting old.
Tell me about it.
My husband will be 85 in July, and I'm 76. And back in the 80s, when I bought it in 1980, there was the 2-car garage. But probably mid to late 80s, my mother-in-law couldn't live alone anymore, and she had polio and she was in a wheelchair. So we had to take her in, but it was going to be tight for her to get into our part of the house, and she really wanted to have her own space, which we thought was a good idea too. And so she said, could you make over your breezeway, which was just screened in at the time, and your garage, and give me a mother-in-law apartment. And so we thought that was a pretty good idea. And my son is a detail carpenter. He's the resident carpenter at Whiteface Lodge in Lake Placid. So he's very good at what he does. So he built the apartment, and most of what mother wants done in the other part of the house too. Trim. But anyway, now we're getting old, so we want to be able to drive into a garage and go into the house without my husband having to get in the snowbank or the ice or whatever. And the only way we can really do that is to build it on the front where the driveway is already paved and everything. We have a beautiful lot on the corner. We love it. The strange thing is, when I signed the papers in June 1980, there was not a road over there. And when I moved in there, November 24th, 1980, there was a road and a house behind there. And it's grown since then, but we're fortunate that we have almost a double lot. It's a pretty good size. And we have wonderful neighbors. They're just fabulous. So we're,
On your diagram here, you have, I guess there's some area that says front hall to the outside and the door.
Yes, that is, well, the picture's not there, but I brought pictures. If you go in the front door,
Yep, right here. In the breezeway area?
yeah, where the breezeway is
Right
there,
here.
that's the door that goes into the breezeway. And then when you go in to the right, there's a door that goes into a front hallway. And that basically has become our tool area. And then if you go straight, you go into the kitchen of the apartment.
Okay.
And now when that was built, that hallway, you can't see it here, but there was all that thick sheetrock put in that's fireproof.
Fire rated,
Yeah.
5As, yeah, okay.
Now that was put in.
The question I have, is it possible to recess that garage into that apartment area somewhat?
No. We have a beautiful,
No, that's why I just don't know what the actual, it shows a bedroom way back in the corner on the little diagram that you gave us.
Oh, okay. Well, when you come in that door where the breezeway is, you come into this kitchen. This is the mother-in-law kitchen. And then to the right is the mother-in-law living room. And that's the living room. And then the bathroom is just around the corner. And then the bedroom is in the back corner. So the mother-in-law apartment is 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah.
So where the front hall is on your little diagram here, and I'm imagining it's 3 or 4 feet wide,
Yes.
could the garage take up that space?
I don't think it could, because it's all part of the original garage and that, you mean, what I'm envisioning is building the garage on the front and having a door that opens into the garage so we can go into that front hallway. And if we wanna take our boots off, hang our coats up, anything like that, then we can do it right there.
Why not just build it on the side of the house and then there wouldn't be a variance request?
On the side of the house,
Outside of the garage, there seems to be plenty of area that you could relocate this garage instead of having it in front of the house.
well, on that side is where we have double windows and we have our furnace. It's a monitor heater and it's all living room on that side. And the back side of the bedroom is that entire wall from front to back of the mother-in-law apartment. Half of that, what was that garage stall, is living room and bedroom now with a furnace on that side. So we would basically be taking away all of the light coming into the apartment because we put double windows in there for more light, more natural light. And there's no other outside wall to put a furnace on to heat the apartment.
You just have to change the chimney, right?
Yeah, we have to change everything on that side.
I'll open up public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And not seeing anybody.
This did go to the county,
Want to read it into our record?
239 M referral. It was voted 7-0 in favor of the action and no comments, local issue.
We can close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Any board members have any other questions? Nobody? Nope. All right, and anybody can disagree with whatever I say as we review the balancing test and whether the request, the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant. We've sort of gone through that basis with Vassos and my questioning of if that could be reduced somewhat. Undesirable change in neighborhood character to nearby properties. It doesn't seem like there's gonna be too much change. It's just gonna be a garage
No,
coming out.
Well, the encroachment would be though. I mean, there's nobody else pushing that far out in front of the house, but.
I've been down that road several times, but there are some houses, I think they're closer actually. They're not conforming and because they're pre-existing.
Yeah.
We don't know, right? Do we have that?
So
Everybody is-
if you look across the road, down to the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see those two houses there are actually, yes, closer to the road.
Yeah.
If you look up, going up the screen,
Hmm.
those houses are all brand new. Those are all exactly the 50-foot back, so those are. The ones, like I said, to the bottom right-hand corner, those two houses there, they've been there for a while, and yeah, they're closer.
Does the one right across the street have a porch that comes out? Looks like there's an extra roof coming out towards the road by that big pine tree.
That looks like it's closer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably in line with those other two houses on that side of the road. And I know she has the power line on her side, so that's why when her house was probably built, her house was probably pushed back a little bit more, where it's not on the other side. I don't know what the setbacks were back when that was done in the early 80s or 70s, late 70s. So.
So you're saying there's power lines on the front of the house, is that right?
Yeah, well, power lines are on her side of the house, on her side of the road.
And so do we know what the variance or easements are off the power lines as far
Yeah,
as building?
she is back on this side of the power lines.
No, but don't they have an easement that goes out beyond the power line? The center of the power
And
line,
she's 10 feet away from that,
at this level?
yes.
Okay.
That's the first thing I did is went out and measured that.
Whether the request is substantial is not, what, 75%? Someplace around there. And whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects, I don't see any of that. And whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, and even if it was, it wouldn't necessarily negate us from granting the variance. So, anybody here like to make a motion?
So the variance is for 18 feet, right?
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance for 18.
I'll second.
Second, and show of hands. And a roll call vote.
Henry Hale,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
No.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marion Alexander,
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Okay, all you gotta do is, come in next week sometime if you wanna pay for the permit,
Okay.
and then you can proceed forward.
Okay.
Okay.
When and where do I pay?
Our office,
Okay, next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
gives her time to do the minutes up and everything else.
Okay, great, thank you. I
Good night.
appreciate your time.
Okay, Angela Boyd, y'all wanna come up? Okay, appeal number 2277, Angela Boyd, 1410 Military Turnpike. Area variance request to be allowed. No, it's not area variance, it's a use variance. That's a typo there, sorry. Request to be allowed to replace an existing manufactured home with a new large 27 by 56 manufactured home, which is an expansion to a pre-existing non-conforming use and is not allowed in a T3C district. So we'll go through here. So this is Military Turnpike coming down. This is Ruger Street here. Their house sits right in here. As you can see, this pink color here is the T3C, which was changed back in July of 2021. Okay. It was before MH District. So they changed it. That's why they're here tonight. So here you go. So we're looking at this house right here in the front. If they were to replace the exact same size, they wouldn't be here. Because you know, your grandfather, if they're on the footprint, you can do the same thing. Of course, none of the houses are never stay the same size, so their house is a little bit bigger, which is why they're here. They want to put a new house in this place right here, but it just happens to be a different size than the one that's here.
The home that's there is actually 56 floor by 20.
Yeah, the only thing is expanding is the depth. It's not.
It's just going 7 foot deeper because that's what a manufactured home is.
Still
today.
expansion.
And it's going towards the back.
Yep.
Which, I own the house next door and down the whole side
This
of
is what the house looks like now, and this is what I wanna replace it with.
I'm gonna put a brand new manufactured home in.
It's my mother left it to me, and she now lives with us because she has really bad dementia. So now it's just sitting there deteriorating, so I wanna give it to my daughter and my son-in-law to have a home.
How quick do you need to put it in there?
Next week. If we get the variance down, tear it down as soon as we can.
Yeah.
I'm coming next door with the backhoe and she's gone. Cause that house is in rough shape. And I don't wanna put all the money in it to fix something that's, it's sitting on a dirt foundation and sinking like all the old trailers with addition and did. Her father owned it for years. The trailer sat here, they built an addition on the back. Him and I remodeled the whole inside of the house, but now the house is sunk some, so I'm gonna have to jack it, level it. It's easier to give it to the kids, let them put a new foundation and everything in and do it right, than it is to play with it. 2 dumpsters in 4 hours, I'll show you.
Well, the reason I asked that because the use variance for that is necessary to go through a lot of questions and financial information. And there's a possibility at the end of next month that that's going to change back to where you wouldn't need a variance.
That's correct.
So that's why I'm asking if you want to continue or if you want to, I mean, that's a town board decision. We're not part of that.
Where would you go, Alan?
I'm a non-voting member here. So like,
You're right. Well, where would you go as a friend? Because you've done a lot of inspections for me.
you know, no. I know they realized they made a mistake with the zoning.
I didn't understand why they zoned that because originally when Nadeem and I came here, when Nadeem put this corner store in, he zoned mine commercial. We zoned mine commercial because I hadn't, well, with that C2 commercial stuff back in them days, because I still hadn't built my house and I wanted to build it, and the rest was all residential. Then they came to me and said everything's commercial. I said, what?
So what was supposed to have happened was Nadine's store right here, that little green spot.
Yeah.
They were gonna take this pink and come off the corner of that and come straight down Ruger.
Okay.
Instead, for some reason, they dropped all the way down here and they just followed it.
Yeah,
Across
it's
that
all
way.
the other ones, yeah.
So they are going to bring that back up, which would now bring it all back to MH as well as R2. The yellow one's R2. So they're gonna bring those two districts back up to where they, so whatever it's gonna be. If it's gonna be 100 feet off of Ruger or whatever it's gonna be, they're gonna develop land there. So anybody who's got a manufactured home across that will fall into the same boat that you guys are in tonight. That's supposed to be voted on either this Thursday or next Thursday by the town board, as long as they don't make any changes.
Yeah.
That's the only gamble you play. So the way it's gonna be is it's gonna go back to that. You guys would need a variance, okay? But you'd have to wait for that to be effective before you could actually do it.
And that's why the chairman asked how soon you wanted to do this.
Right.
Because if you're willing to table this for a month, then
What
possibly
do
you
we
won't.
gotta do not to table it? What most it does, get refused, and then we go back and get a permit from you? The next month, if it doesn't. go
Well,
back?
so what would happen, right, if you don't table it and you continue, this board's gotta determine that you gave them enough information to make the decision. If you didn't, which is very hard to make a use variance determination. So if you didn't give them enough, then they're gonna ask you if you wanna table it and continue it to next month. Or if they vote on it, they could vote no. Then you're still gonna wait until it gets changed, you're gonna do it then.
Really, you got nothing.
So,
Yeah.
but
You know what I mean? Just because my pre-approval is up in
It's gonna
probably
be up.
60 days,
Right.
and I want to get,
Oh.
you know,
You should have an answer plenty of time.
Yeah, but that was 60 days, like,
From
um,
a month ago,
Yeah.
that's why we're trying to push it here forward, because we missed last month's meeting because somebody was slow in paperwork.
you know,
It's definitely your decision.
I mean,
I should go
Yeah.
forward just because
I agree.
We're here.
you're taking a chance
Yeah,
with your bank.
sure.
So,
Okay.
and I mean, to be honest, if it doesn't get approved, I can't afford to tear it down and everything. So it's gonna be an eyesore.
Well, the first question that we asked, we need to look at reasonable return or lack of economic use or benefit. For you, from your vantage point.
In order to change a use regulation, it's really a long process and includes whether or not you can sell that or use it as in the commercial field. And that's gonna be, that requires quite a bit of research to figure that out.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
selling thing we wouldn't do because my uncle owns the back half. I have the front half, but it's on one deed. One parcel. So it's not like one of us could sell, and it's been in my family for like 65 years, so I wouldn't sell it. It's
Just like the
Does that open to a different, because you have to open up the whole lot to a variance? Now that you have another
I think that's
non-conforming?
a Matt question there.
Yeah, variance would go with the parcel.
yeah, the entire parcel.
And you'll get a variance on the first 20 feet, not the next 80 feet.
Right.
So it's the whole thing.
I mean, right now, the houses are
Pre-existing non-conforming.
far apart. As long as the lot sizes and stuff, they could
They can have the dual part.
they could subdivide it. The problem is they can't because they create a landlocked parcel back. So then they'd have to come here and get a 280A from you guys to create that lot in the back.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just two houses on the same lot. That complies right now.
Gotta find out how do we do with this. So, the lot has got two limits on it.
I don't know that we have enough information
Yeah.
to make a decision here, Chairman. And there's no financial information here to determine the first step.
And that would be a seeker also on this too. Yeah.
what kind of financial information do you need?
Well, it's-
You'd have,
You have to show that you can't get a reasonable return on that property.
You basically have to show that all the allowed uses are economically unfeasible for you. You're literally supposed to take every allowed use one by one and show to do this, it would cost us this much, therefore we can't get a reasonable return. To do the next one, it's a very lengthy kind of drawn out process, which is why I think they were giving you the option of either providing more information or asking it to be tabled and see if the town
Like, it
board.
needs a whole new
So-
roof.
It's a road.
Yeah, that's not-
This
It's a
is
listing of
Schedule
property.
A, and it's in the back of the ordinance, also online. So you would go through and you would find T3, over here, T3C. You go down this list, everywhere there's a dot, it doesn't matter if it's filled in or not, whether there's a dot, that's associated to a use over here. You have to explain why that use cannot fit on that lot.
That's an allowed use, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, the dots are allowed uses in it.
So those, everything that's got a dot, you have to explain each one individually, why it doesn't work there. Size, because of ownership, because you can't see, whatever, you'd have to explain that to them. That's why I said, the use variance is very hard to get.
But the condition of the unit has nothing to
Yeah.
do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, realistically, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's,
But the condition of the unit has nothing to do with the variance.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's the other uses that can be put towards. And you can do a convenience store there. I don't know how many, there's probably 40 different uses for that.
Yeah, because like I said, that's a
It's a pretty broad
commercial use,
district,
so.
But it can never be subdivided because of the way
It
all the
doesn't have
lots
to.
are.
It doesn't have to be subdivided. Just what you can use there.
We'll probably just have to wait. If we gotta go through three.
Yeah, because realistically, it all may change in the
And
next
in a
couple of
week or
years.
so, you might not even need a variance.
I think that's the best. Instead of going to three more and then it's not having enough information again.
So to make a motion for tabling it?
Table it.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
And
I'll second.
second.
Before you vote on that, because it was advertised, you want to make sure the,
Public hearing portion of the meeting is now open. Anybody here like to speak to that? And no, and it went to the county also?
it did. County 239M went down there, and a 7-0 in favor of the action as a local issue.
Then we can go to the show of hands for that motion. And roll call vote.
Patrick, motion.
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yeah,
second.
second.
Henry Hale,
Yes.
Basil LaFors,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes,
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, guys.
So as soon as the town board makes their decision, we'll let you guys know. But you might also just look for it, because it'll be advertised in the paper or whatever else as well. As soon as they do, they'll have an effective date of that. You can start your plan.
Then, right
You can
on.
tear it down anytime you
No, no,
want
once
by
you mean-
permit, but, in order to put the house
Just
back
Thursday
there.
next Thursday.
What's that?
You want to tear it down if we don't get approval? It'll sit there and fall apart.
Well, me too.
Miserable.
Thank you.
Yep. Nicholas Wells. That's you?
No, that's not me. I'm a neighbor. I'm obviously over there.
Okay. Right here? Yeah. Go back up to our first one.
Porfrio's not here?
I don't think Nicholas Wells is here right now.
Okay.
Does he have to be here for this?
Yeah, we're gonna go through them, give them time to see if they show up or not. If not, then we're gonna come back to Nicholas's and then let you voice your opinion, okay? Okay, ladies, would you like to come forward? Okay, Mr. Chairman, we're back to our old business, 17 Harlan Drive. They were here before you last month. It was actually the applicant, person looking to purchase the property. Request to be allowed to construct a residence on the property for residential use, which is not allowed use in a service center district. So just to refresh everyone's memory, here's the highway. We talked about Moffett Road up here. This is the Cumberland Head Road coming down this way, four corners. This is LeBaire Street, or Latour Avenue, sorry. And this is Harlan Drive here. Plattsburgh Wholesale Homes has this big business out here. This is the very last lot, little triangle lot here at the end of the road. So you can see this whole area here, service center. So here's that triangle lot. Just pointing out, there's the frontage right there. It's just this little space right here where the driveway actually is, even though this pavement actually extends all the way down to here. Plattsburgh Wholesale is back here. As of today, none of these trees here are here any longer. The fence is gone, and I believe Mr. Menard is now using the road to bring his houses in. But Here's what it looks like today right now. So there are some miscellaneous concrete pads sitting out in here. There's a one-car garage over here. This line that comes right up here is the property line on this side. It triangles up to the roadway in this back corner of this direction. So it's not a squared lot, it's a triangle lot. And this is what the applicant was proposing. He was proposing to put in a tiny home here, keeping the garage, and these were his setbacks he was looking to achieve. Ladies, it's all yours.
Good luck. The property is currently in an estate, so it's the estate of Joseph Lee. Tony Anderson is the executrix of the will, and it's her uncle who owns the property. I guess the problem, with us being here, or the reason that we have to be here, is because the town had sent numerous letters to her uncle to clean the property up. Had an old dilapidated house on it, and the town had been after him to get it cleaned up.
In May of, okay, so it would have been in May of 22. And he had been diagnosed with cancer and wasn't well enough to do that. He passed away in September, so it didn't get done.
Okay.
So when I was appointed executor, then I had to get it done.
So she hired it done, so that she could satisfy the town. And anyway, it was taken down without a permit, unbeknownst to her that she needed a permit. She just hired someone to take it down. The town needs it to be cleaned up.
And he said he would take care of whatever was needed. And I paid him a lot of money to do that,
So that's why we're here to begin with, because he tore down the house and they didn't have a permit. She didn't know she needed a permit. Now we have the property pending sale, obviously contingent upon a use permit because he wants to put this little tiny house there. I think we went through and did most, the size of the property alone limits what you can do with the property. It's awful tiny, and then the shape of it besides. So I think our letter addressed the majority or all of the reasons why the uses couldn't be used that way. Almost all of them are because of the size or the small road frontage. I think it was only 25 feet, I think, or something. I don't have the map right in front of me. But a very short or a very small road frontage.
Well, your road frontage is considerable. That's your longest.
No, it's only like where he just showed you between the two trees, from one end to the
Right.
tree.
The
That's it.
The road frontage is only the width, basically the
It's
width of
just
the
right
property
there.
here. Because the road
Yeah.
stops and then
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, physically you could drive down a little further, but technically it
So is that lot on this side of it is out Menards at the end of that road? Is that how that parcel is?
Right, so basically, in order to get to the garage, you'd have to leave the public right of way, cross onto Menard's lot, and pull into the garage.
But there's no easement, none of record of that, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
There used to be a gate there, and that's where Jerry would bring his stuff, he'd be able to go in and out the gate onto that public right of way.
And the rest of the entire street is all residential.
But it wasn't marketed as a commercial property, right?
No. No, it's always been residential until the time that he didn't get the permit, and I guess it went back to.
Right, so normally what happens, if they would've came in and got a demo permit for that, then that 1 year window would've started, you could put something back
Which is where
there,
we thought we were.
but they didn't get the permit, it's down, so you don't give somebody for doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So, it's down, it's gone, the 1 year thing
We
doesn't
can't change
exist.
it, unfortunately, but that's why we didn't think we needed this, because I guess she thought that he had taken care of everything the proper way and didn't. And so we were saying, no, we've got a year to put back something there residential, but that wasn't the case
Right.
when we talked out.
Right.
Bearer of bad news.
Yeah. And this young kid is, is looking to improve the property, certainly from what it was with the dilapidated house on there. So we were hoping to be able to get the use permit to settle the estate.
And You know, I have read through your letter stating many of the things that don't fit there because of basically size.
I think size is the majority.
But there are other items in the list that you would have to address still. Did you go through the whole list?
Yeah, of the spreadsheet that he has with the dots, yeah.
Yours is out already. Do you want to?
Huh?
I think he's looking for the use table.
Oh,
You just had it out, didn't you?
yeah.
Mhm.
It was just the ones that were with the dots,
Right.
correct?
So you want me to list off some of the uses and see if they address it, is that what you want? Just check.
Please.
Okay, so service center, dwelling above a commercial use. Accessory use, but you gotta have primary use in order to have accessory use first. Agricultural structure, I don't think it's big enough for a farm.
No.
No, and
Agricultural use,
it was like hospital,
Okay.
recreational trails.
so the first one starts out as an animal hospital. Then you have an automotive body work. You have automobile fuel station,
So you could put a body shop there.
auto repair and service.
Could do that one also.
Now,
I don't know if there's enough parking there to do any kind of.
Business.
I mean, the one thing you can consider is if you right around the corner, there is an automobile repair service. I think Garrow's owns the building, but I don't think it's somebody else is doing auto repair service in there. If you compare that size of a lot for what he's doing to this lot, you'll see that it wouldn't fit on there, but.
Well, I mean, I suppose if you use the existing garage,
Well, the parcel itself is bigger than just the plot you're looking at though, so that, the whole lot size seems big enough to park whatever needs to be parked there, based on that triangle, I guess, from what I'm looking at.
I don't know with the setbacks, if you could do that with any kind of setbacks, other than,
You don't need a setback to park something.
well, no, but I'm saying for the garage or the auto body, I mean, I grew up in an auto body shop. I mean, that's a single, and it's a falling down little garage.
No, I
It's
realize
pretty dilapidated.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't keep that building, but they
Right.
could build another garage there.
But it is supposed to be shown that you can't get economic return of investment from whatever else is there. Not just that it doesn't make sense to be there.
Okay,
So, right, so if something does physically could fit there, you'd have to prove to them financially, maybe the cost of doing all that stuff doesn't flow with the value of the
Well,
property or whatever, the value of that area or whatever.
right, I mean, we're only talking a $20,000 lot, I mean,
Which probably talks against your point because then.
It makes it feasible for someone to say, look, for 20 grand, I can't buy another commercial lot for that price.
Right.
And the reason, that's why I asked if you had marketed it as anything other than single family, which in the
No.
listing it doesn't look
No.
at. So you don't know whether there's other people out there that would say, oh, I can do a repair shop there and it's only 20 grand, I'm gonna jump on it. So we need the details to show that none of those would work, but just the mere fact of the price, it goes against you, as he's saying, but also the fact that it hasn't been marketed for any of these uses, we don't know that you could actually make more money than 20 grand if you market it towards.
Okay, my question to the board is, do I have to market it as commercial if you find that it's not feasible for us to sell it as residential? Would I be forced to do that?
Well, if they make a finding against you, you're pretty stuck from doing anything. So if you're gonna, you need to do all that first, because if they find against you, you can't come back really and ask for something else.
Right, so, I
We
mean,
can't tell you that, you have to
Right.
supply us with those answers.
right,
We can't tell you what to do, what we would do or not, we only can go based on the application that's in front of us, so we can't engage in a dialogue to cooperate in some other fashion without knowing what's only here in front of us.
And I think the easy, I
My
mean,
hands are kind of tied.
the dots on the little chart is pretty easy for us to at least give our opinion of why that wouldn't work.
But they don't
Somewhat.
want our opinion.
But, but the part that's harder for me is, you know, the reasonable return, substantial as shown to a competitive financial evidence. How do I come up with that? How does the layperson, this is not my area of expertise. I mean, I'm a realtor, but certainly that isn't my area. How do we address that? The average
An
person.
accountant or an appraiser or an engineer might have.
Or market it and find out if nobody's there and say, and if you came back and said, look, we've been trying to sell this by listing all the.
Well, I've been trying to sell it as a residential property and I can't do it either. So, I mean,
But again, if you're not marketing it to the commercial uses, you don't know, and you can't prove to the board whether nobody is interested for, if I looked at this and said, oh, it's just a house, I don't need a house. I wouldn't know any different unless I came in here and asked. So you probably closed down your market by not knowing that there were all these commercial uses that maybe somebody would have purchased or wants to purchase that property.
Okay.
But you have to be able to show us that that's been tried and it didn't work, and therefore there's not a reasonable return, but we don't have that in this application.
Honestly, to be honest with you, as the executor of this, I just want to get rid of the property. So what I'm saying is if we were to list it as residential also, is that an easier process
You can't.
commercially.
than,
commercial.
or, you know what I'm saying, as commercial? Is
You know what I'm
that is my mind here, is that an easier process than going through the residential? Are there just as many, you know, rules as
No,
there
because if
are?
somebody's gonna put a commercial property there, they don't have to come before the
If
board.
it's an approved use,
If it's
there's
on
no
the list.
variance that you need or anything else.
Okay, so it would be actually easier
It could be
to,
commercial.
Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be easier to obtain a buyer though.
Correct.
no,
Right.
but it would be an easier process.
But then you can come back and say that it has been marketed as a commercial property and a residential property.
I
and
think
not
the
that's
estate was
happening.
trying to retain the buyer at hand,
Yeah,
We were,
to settle the estate.
right.
we were.
He owned multiple properties. This is the last little parcel of land that he had to settle the estate, so. I wanted, John Niles is the attorney for the estate. I wanted John to do this,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to take on it. The task is too cumbersome, he said, too time consuming.
It is.
And
It
he
is.
didn't want to take it on, and we tried to get him to do it. Quite frankly.
I'm not opposed to trying to sell this as residential.
As commercial.
As commercial, you know what I'm saying?
And you may not be able to, but you may then be able to come back to this board and say, it's been on the market for X number of months.
Right.
Commercially, nobody's buying it, therefore I can show you why I can't do any of these allowed uses
Right.
because nobody wants this piece.
Right, so if I don't sell it as residential, then I can't go back and say I wanna sell it as commercial. I know what you're saying.
It's a pain in the neck process, but this is a unique enough property where it may not have to be on the market forever, you know, for real long, because shape and size and road access are working in your favor, but they do need some sort of economic information to make findings in your favor if that's what happens.
Okay, so we would have to come back with that information.
If, for a residential
Yeah,
use.
right.
Not if we sell it as a commercial piece and
Right.
somebody's
Right.
gonna use it as a commercial piece, we
Wouldn't
don't
hurt
have
at
to do
all.
anything.
Right.
Yeah, if you sell as commercial, just contact and say, we want to withdraw the application.
Right. If somebody wants to put a Jiffy Lube there, you're good to go.
All right.
I want you to go see if it's juicy,
Yeah.
you
Right.
can go there, Matt.
Right.
Yeah,
We will open the public hearing portion of the meeting, and that's anybody that wants to talk to the mayor. Want to read in the statement?
This did go back down to the county, and they voted 7-0 in favor of the action on the local issue.
So rather than having this table, I think the board could make findings that there's not enough information provided to make a decision, and therefore this is just kind of taken off the calendar until we get a request from the applicant to restore it to the calendar with new information.
Yeah, because truthfully, the applicant is the buyer of the contract, so if he can't do it for residential, that contract will be null and void, he'll walk away from the deal. So we will be starting brand new anyway.
Right.
Mhm.
So are you making a request that they have to make a request that we? Deny it,
It's
or-
gonna be rescinded, the application's rescinded for now, right?
Well, that's up to, they
They have to.
can withdraw their application, or you can make a motion and findings that there's not enough information to proceed, and then it's rescinded on your action until they provide you that information. You get to the same outcome.
But
as
they
just
have to
another one.
determine they don't want us to continue this
Right.
What do you wanna do?
That's really, it's really your call.
I
I'm trying to
know,
give my
I just
moral
don't.
support more than anything.
Yeah,
I'd
but-
like you to withdraw the application, have a chance to refile an application with all the information that the board is looking for that may, really what they're supposed to go
make
on
a
is what's
request to us
provided
to
with the
withdraw.
application, plus whatever you may add to it. So 90% of what you wanna say should be provided initially, ideally. So it may be worth your while to withdraw this, come up with that information after how many weeks, months, whatever, and then provide a whole new application to the board with all that.
I'll make that motion that we withdraw it at this point. If
Yeah.
you're in agreement with that, and
Yeah.
then we'll come back, because truthfully, it's in the buyer's name at this point, Paul Marshall, which he won't be on board once, if he can't do his
Make a
residential.
motion to withdraw. To withdraw.
Second, show of hands.
Who was?
Mary Ann,
Mary.
Mary Ann.
Thanks,
and
sorry.
then roll call.
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Russell LaFors.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhigg.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, our last one is appeal number 2278, Nicholas Wells. They don't appear to be here, but we do have public hearings, so we'll go through this and then we'll let the public hearing go. So this was an area variance. It is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The house is already too close to the roads, or the house already sits within the setback of the property. That's why it's pre-existing non-conforming. They're requesting to be allowed to remove an existing stoop and patio and replace it with a newly constructed and large 6 foot out from the house, 32 feet along the house. So it'll come out from the front door, it'll go 32 feet along the house to the driveway, which does not meet the 30-foot front yard setback in R1 residential district. It encroaches 15 feet into the front yard setback, leaving 15 feet to the property line. So with the house already there and this additional 6 feet, it increases to 15 feet as an encroachment. So this is all Cliff Haven. There's a small little portion of it over here on the other side of Route 9. As you come in and hang a left, right here at this first bend in the road, their house sits right there. So you can see this is all an R1 district, except
We could blow that up some, so I can see, cause I own a property right behind it.
we can get to that when you want to talk, okay?
I was just wondering.
So this is the property right here. So basically the third one in on the left-hand side. You can see the picture of their patio up here in the front.
You can move your chair, sir, if you want to see better.
So they're looking to put that in the front here. So this is kind of what their house looks like. You can see there's a stoop right here already. There's also the patio pavers right here. So they're looking to come out right where this little gable part of the roof, come down no further out than what this stoop is, which is about 6 feet, down to the edge of this garage. So they'd actually exit off the side onto their driveway. Here's a survey map that was furnished. So this is the lines and setbacks. This is where we determined it was already a pre-existing non-conforming. So, and this is they're showing their 6 foot by 32 foot front porch right here. Driveways on this side.
So their steps are actually okay because they're just exiting from the house, correct?
So what we have is even the stoop is okay.
Right.
Because in the ordinance, we allow you to go 4 feet into the encroachment area for egress.
Right.
And that's what's there right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Public hearing portion of the meeting, we'll open it up.
Okay, just let you know, it went down to 239 in for county. They voted local issue 7-0 in favor of the action. Okay, sir, now it's all yours.
This is a variance for the front of his house, not the back.
Right.
Not the back.
No, this is the front where it's gonna go. Yep.
Okay, no problem. See, I thought he was trying to extend it towards the back because I know Nick Wells and had some dealings with him, and I didn't want it to have a problem because I'm having problems with him already as a neighbor. I'm
Okay.
sorry. He's caused thousands of dollars of damage to my property, and I guess we'll probably be in court about that, but okay, that's the front yard. I don't have anything to say about him extending that, as long as there's nothing in the back, because that's where I have problems with him.
Okay.
That, and he's also owns another piece of property on the other side of this property, if you're familiar with. I mean, on the other side of my property, I'm on Route 9, and he owns, I believe it's a landscaping business.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where I've had a problem with him at, is that part of the neighbor.
Yeah.
So where his house is at, only his backyard is in. Like whoever lives on this road here, where he lives at, on this street, my property is the 8.10 acre lot behind all these
Right.
houses on there.
So yours sits down further on Route 9 behind his property.
Right, across from the fire hall and.
Yep. The South Plattsburgh Station 2, I think is what it is.
Yes. So
Thank you.
I guess I must have had it wrong. See, I thought that this was to extend his backyard as well. I can't, cause I was like, if this is the problem that I'm having with him from one side, why would I want to? You know what I mean?
Yep, we hear you. We appreciate you coming in.
No problem. Y'all have a blessed day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are we going to act on this, or just gonna wait until they come?
We're not here to discuss anything. I just table it
Yeah.
for no representation.
I'll make a motion to table it.
We made an attempt to call him, but just got the answer machine, so.
Okay, so minutes on that, and a roll call vote?
Henry Young.
Yes.
Russell LaFors.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhigg.
Yes.
Okay, Vaso, it's your turn.
Motion to adjourn?
There you go.
Second,
Almost forgot how.
show of hands.
Don't shoot, don't shoot.